Somebody said, on more than one occasion, I've been accused of reading the Bible like a religious fundamentalist. That is to say, taking everything in there literally. How should I respond to this?
Right.
I would say that if you're going to take it not literally, I mean, obviously there are some parts that are not meant to be taken literally, right? Where Jesus says, hey, let me tell you a story. And he tells a story. You know, these are stories. They're not literal. They're meant to be, you know, just examples that he's going to compare to things that he's trying to, you know, points he's trying to get across. He's just using an example. But when it comes to other things that are, you know, hey, this is, you know, if you believe and you pray, you can move a mountain, right? Anything with God, all things are possible. Mm-hmm. Well, are all things possible? Are all things, is it not all things, right? Like what? So when it comes to stuff where it's just like, this is an absurdity. If it's literal, it's absurd. And if it's not, so let's take that, right? Through God, all things are possible. So I say, obviously, not all things are possible. We have self-contradicting things that are not possible, and whatever. And so the person says to me, oh, you're being ridiculous. This is not meant to be taken literally. Okay, well, now we have a problem, right? Because what we're basically saying is that with God, some things are possible.
Right, which is almost a tautology.
Right. Right. But, I mean, with God, some things are possible. So, okay, first of all, there's not an omni, right? Because this is not, he can't do everything. He can do some things. But the other thing is now we get to argue, everybody, about what things are possible through God, right? So, and how do we determine that? So if this is a figurative thing that is thrown down that you're subjectively supposed to interpret for yourself, how do we know what things are possible through God?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and that's the problem when people start saying that there's these passages that don't mean what they say. You're left with, then it means whatever anybody wants it to mean.
Right. And I'm very, very, very frustrated with this sort of thing because it's always about, you know, how can this be spun in such a way that, you know, helps me with my agenda today, and you know, somebody else is going to spin it differently for some different agenda. And why isn't it that there is a version of the Bible that has very concrete, non-interpretable, you know, text in it where it's all extruded out and this is what is really meant? Mm-hmm. And the answer is that there's, you know, 30,000 or more denominations, and they have different niches in the ecosystem of belief here.
Right.
And they're all making money at it, and you know, getting their power or whatever, and if they can't do these interpretations, then they cease to exist.
Right. And a lot of these churches that can't agree with each other are all saying you need to read it literally. A lot of the biblical literalists don't agree on what the Bible says. So there is no way to, and all of them are saying we're interpreting it correctly.
Yeah, so my answer is, you know, create me this book that everybody agrees on, and we'll talk.
Yeah, great. The great communicator, right? It was clearly not Yahweh.
Yeah.
This is another failure of Christianity.
Absolutely,
your Bible is very difficult to understand and ambiguous.
Right, and if God really did create humanity and really did write this book, there should not be a problem here.
Okay.